So, my friends, the theme of our readings today is obviously the virtue of humility. And humility is a virtue that can often be misunderstood, but it's essential. It's kind of the bedrock virtue for all the other virtues to build in the Christian life and for our spiritual life to build. Pride is the root of all sin, right? The original sin was the sin of pride. Pride is kind of where all other sin comes from. And humility is the opposite of pride. And so humility is kind of the starting point for all of our virtues. And to acquire any holiness, we really need this virtue of humility. And humility, again, is often misunderstood, but it is primarily about recognizing properly, like to have a proper and truthful understanding of who we are in relationship to God and to others. First, in relationship to God. So the word even humility comes from the word humus, which means ground. That we're made, as humanity, we're made from the dust of the earth, right? And so God is the total, omnipotent, supreme being. We are made out of the dust of the earth, made by God. And so we are not gods ourselves. It's about acknowledging the truth. God is God, and I am not. And because of that, we, in our relationships among ourselves, all of the kind of like, I'm better than you, no, I'm better than you, well, I'm better than everyone else, and all this type of stuff is nonsense when we look at the greatest thing about us is that we are created, made, and loved by God, and that so is everyone else. And so the kind of most important bragging qualities we have are the way that God made us, shaped us, loves us, sustains us, redeemed us, and that is kind of where our boasting should be. When people think of humility, a lot of times there may be this kind of idea that humility is really a false humility, right? Humility is not, obviously it's not false humility, but a false, I'm not any good at anything. I'm so terrible. I'm the worst, which really is just me doing that so you could be like, oh no, Father Casey, you're great. We love you. Like, no, I'm terrible. I'm so bad. No, Father, you're so wonderful. I'm like, yeah, keep it coming. No, please, right? But it is, but like that's false humility. That's me actually maybe thinking that I'm that great and that nobody's noticing how great I am. And so let me just be like, I'm so bad at everything I do. Just so that you can acknowledge the truth, which is how great I am, right? That's actually pride. That is pride just kind of by another avenue. And so that's not humility. Also, though, humility is not having low self-esteem, right? Low self-esteem, low self-confidence, that's not humility either. Because humility is about truth. And usually low self-esteem, low self-confidence is not true, right? Normally that's a misunderstanding of who we are, where we judge ourselves more harshly. We judge ourselves in an incorrect way, where we're tougher on ourselves and not recognizing reality in who we are and the goodness that God has made, how God has made us good. And so low self-confidence, low self-esteem, that's not humility either, because we're not appreciating the good things that God has given. He made us. God made us, and He made us good. And to not value the goodness of God's creation in creating me, creating each one of us, right? That's not reality either. That's not a real understanding of the truth. Humility, therefore, in our relationship, we could look at it in the two ways. First, our relationship to God, and second, our relationship to others, right? If we're avoiding false humility and we're avoiding low self-esteem, what is real humility? God made me out of nothing. The greatest thing about me, like the first and necessary thing about me, is that I exist. And I didn't do anything to earn that. Like, I didn't earn existence. There's nothing I didn't bargain God into creating me. Before I even existed, God, out of total love for me, right? Because of nothing that I've done, but purely out of his goodness, made me, created me, so that he could love me, right? Why did God make us? Well, God made us on his end so that he could love us, right? God wants to love us. God doesn't want to judge us, condemn us, send us to hell, any of those things. We may freely choose that if we abuse our freedom, but God made me because he wants to love me. And that, I didn't earn that. It's a free gift. And because of that free gift, my response to God is one of humility. Because I didn't earn creation. I didn't earn being loved by God. God doesn't owe me anything because it was his free act of love to create me. And so if I think like God owes me, well, no, God doesn't owe me. If I think God should be so proud, because I came to church on Labor Day weekend, right? Like, God, you should be so, no, God made me, and he loves me, and he just wants me to take 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes if you go to the 10:30 Mass, but 45 minutes to an hour normally, average, if we, just to return that love, just to be with him. The way there's many, parents whose kids are gone off to college now or off to other professions or anything, it's just like, I just want you to call, maybe just once a week, and chat with me for 45 minutes to an hour, right? Just maybe on Sunday morning, right? It's like God, our Father, just wants to spend this time with us. Coming to church is not to get a pat on the back from God. God has given us everything and just wants us to remember him, right? And to turn to him in love. Humility is that I didn't earn anything for this, right? No, it's a relationship of love. All the good things I have come from God. And God has done so many good things for us. Not only in creating us, but he redeemed us. That even when we sin, God pays the debt of our sin, right? He pays for us because he loves us. God became one of us so he could share life with us. God adopts us into the life of the Holy Trinity so that we don't just have the fullness of natural happiness, right? Our goal is not just to be happy like philosophers, but God has invited us and adopted us into the life of the Holy Trinity. So we really have a place in that relationship of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit that happens in the sacrament of baptism. God makes us part of his family, we who are created out of the dust of the earth, because he loves us. That real humility is recognizing the gifts that we have been given, that we didn't earn, they're not owed to us, but God out of his goodness gives them to us. And so if I think that I have a leg to stand on against God, no, absolutely not, because every good thing I have comes from him. And like a good father, he just wants to continue to give us more and more and more and more of good things. And so our relationship is one of gratitude, right? One of the fruits of humility is gratitude. We're grateful when someone does something for us that we don't deserve. I use this example. The U.S. government doesn't send me a thank you note when I pay my taxes, right? They send me money back, but even when they send me money back, they're not like, thank you so much for overpaying so we could have this invested and pay down the national debt or something. No. They're like, you overpaid us, here's your money back, right? There's no thank you in that. There's no great, why? Because I owe taxes. That's how we owe it, right? If somebody pays a bill that they owe, no one's like, oh, thank you for paying your bill, right? No, that's owed, that's due. Well, God doesn't owe us anything. And so to be grateful, right, to say thank you is it's an act of humility. It's a fruit of humility. Because we recognize that the good things that God gives us come out of his goodness, that we didn't earn them. And then we have humility with others. Jesus tells this parable about being invited to the banquet and not taking the highest place, not presuming that you get the best seat at the banquet and you're at the head table. That with regard to our relationship to others, we also should exercise real humility, which is not presuming ourselves to be better than everyone else. It's that we need to really conduct ourselves in this way of thinking, I have no idea. I have no idea what is going on in someone else's mind, what's going on in their heart. I have no idea really what struggles they've been through in their life. I have no idea what struggles they've been through even this morning. And so if I think that just because in this particular moment I may be able to say something more eloquently, or I may be able to run faster or do something, have a bigger smile, whatever it is, like I have no idea what someone's been through. And so what they're kind of, we don't judge ourselves to be better or worse than anyone else, right? A real kind of humility in our relationship with others is giving. Archbishop Blair used to say, one of the greatest things we can give someone today is the benefit of the doubt. Like one of the greatest gifts that we could give someone today is to give them the benefit of the doubt. To really try in a way to engage with others in a way that is, that's humble. Not, I'm so much better than you, you owe me, like, don't you understand? And none of that. No, actually, let me give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's presume that each other are working with good intentions and with a good heart. If it proves to be otherwise, right, if someone is a kleptomaniac and has regularly stolen from me, I'm not going to let you hold on to my wallet. Like, hey, hold this while I go jump in a pool. No, that's foolish, and humility is not foolishness. But to really give someone the benefit of the doubt, to really try to see how we can, in our estimation, one person to another, are there ways that we can exercise that humility, right? Live humility. And it's a very practical, it happens in the practical. Again, it's not a false humility of like, I'm really better than you, but I'm going to let you go first or something because I know I'm better, but I'm going to pretend I'm not, right? That's false humility. Rather, real humility is to say, you may be right. Like, you may actually be better. You may be holier than I am. You may be smarter than I am. I have no idea. And so we can really give way sometimes to others. Always trying to get to the best outcome. If someone really doesn't know what they're doing, like I don't want a brain surgeon out of humility to like let the less competent person operate on my brain. Like no, if you're a good brain surgeon, if you're a really good brain surgeon, but again, it may be because you've had more opportunities to study. It may be because there may just be more natural things that are not anything that you've earned, but are just, certain people have the body of a swimmer. They can swim faster because it's just the way that their bodies are built. Great. Like that's a free gift from God, and we say thank you for it. It's very practical. Two very practical points to wrap up are that St. Jose Maria Escriva, in his little book called The Furrow, has a kind of a list of things, an examination of conscience of ways that we could not, like examples of not living humility in our relationship to others. And he goes a list, I'll just give a few examples from it, right? Thinking what we do or say is better than what others do or say. Always wanting to get your own way. Arguing when you are not right, or when you are right, insisting stubbornly and with bad manners. Giving your opinion without being asked for it when charity doesn't demand that you do so. Despising the point of view of others. Not being aware of all the gifts and qualities you have, that they're on loan. Mentioning yourself as a good example in conversation. Speaking badly about yourselves so that others may form a good opinion of you and contradict you, right? These are just a couple examples. Humility is meant to be a very practical virtue. These are examples of what it doesn't look like. A great little prayer to grow in humility, and we'll close with this, is Cardinal Marie de Waal, who was the Vatican Secretary of State, I think around the time of either World War I or World War II, wrote a beautiful litany of humility. And it's in the little red prayer books we have at St. Francis Church, or you could Google it, the Litany of Humility. And it's just a beautiful way to pray, to ask that we be freed from all fear, right? From fear of being forgotten, from fear of being rebuked, from fear of being calumniated, from the desire of being esteemed, from the desire of being preferred to others. We ask Jesus to deliver us. And so a great little litany of humility there It could be a way that I want to grow in humility. I want to really grow that I understand all my gifts are from God, and in my relationship with others, I'm willing to give way. I'm willing to consider their good qualities, to be open to the fact that someone may have something to teach me, and to learn in that way. Our Lady is the most perfect human to have ever lived, right? She's the most perfect human person to have ever lived, and she herself was a model of humility. So we can ask Mary, the mother of humility, the model of humility, to help teach us. She was the most perfect, and she conducted herself with total humility. And so maybe we could go to our mother and ask her to teach us how to live this great virtue of humility so we can grow in holiness, in service to God and our neighbors.